I feel like when we spoke last year, you said that leaving Dancing with the Stars was like your worst divorce. That's how you described it. Do you feel like over the course of this past year that almost doing these interviews has helped you grieve that
Yeah,
breakup?
for sure. And
Mhm.
like, it just feels like I said earlier, just like less
Yeah.
weight, but
Hmm.
also less any type of anger or whatever, reality was in my head
Hmm.
at that time. It was an open wound when, obviously I decided to do this podcast,
Hmm.
but it's never going to be a good time, right? Like at some
Right.
point, either I was going to run away from this whole experience and never look
Hmm.
back, or do what was healthy, which is really facing it and kind of bonding and trauma bonding with my guests, but all in a beautiful light. Like it's not a bad thing. I think with beautiful memories also come, ups and downs and
Hmm.
challenges and beautiful times. Like that's life.
How would you describe your relationship with the show now?
I'm still a fan. I don't know how they
Hmm.
feel, obviously.
Yeah.
But the show, I just know I'm never going to forget where I came from. And like even
Hmm.
watching last night, I was so emotional and I am invested still. And I can tell like I I do we record via Zoom, right? And so
Yeah.
like there's certain clips that, I'll get from my heart and I'm like my react like you could just tell like I am a super fan and I always will be.
Do you get that like FOMO about not being out there anymore?
It's interesting because I thought I would after seeing Whitney come back, and I think that like she
Sure.
looks incredible and she's as if she's never missed a season, but I don't. And I was actually asked this recently by Jack Osborne, who was one of my partners, and
Hmm.
he's like, "Do you miss it at all?" And I'm like, I don't miss it as whatever role I was in, as a pro
Hmm.
dancer. Now I can't tell you if I of any other role because that's all I did. So I mean,
Yeah.
meaning that was a lot. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
I miss. I do miss the camaraderie. I miss
Hmm.
like set life. I miss the dancers,
Hmm.
but I don't miss the actual like workload as far as
Yeah.
not the amount of work, but I guess the same thing over and over again for me because I did it for so many
Right.
seasons that I felt stagnant and on autopilot for a while there.
I was going to say, did it almost get monotonous after a course of so
It
many
did.
seasons? Because I'm sure
And a
like it's,
lot,
you
yeah.
have to come up with a lot of different dances, a lot of different choreography. And, sometimes you get really great partners, sometimes you don't get good partners. So it's got to be,
Yeah. Funny you say that because it was, I think it was season 19, and I did take a break. I went over to do
mhm,
a show called I Can Do That. But that was when I was like, oh no. And I was almost like mad at myself for feeling like this because
mhm,
I was like, this is such an amazing opportunity. Anybody would want this job. And
mhm.
I was like, but why do I feel like I'm just like a robot?
Yeah,
And
right.
I needed to leave when I left
Hmm.
for a few seasons because I had to. I think what it was for me was like I wasn't learning and I was only teaching for so many
Sure.
years.
Did you ever feel like when you left the show, because obviously dance has been a part of your life for as long as you can remember.
Forever. Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, oh no, I'm going to go through like some sort of identity crisis in a way? Did
Oh,
you
I
ever fear
did.
that?
I
You
did.
did, yeah.
I did.
Hmm.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I even feared it because I didn't know it was going to happen, but I did. I think
Hmm.
this past year, and this is why I think, as you can see on my social media, like I'm really choosing me,
Yeah.
from
Hmm.
choosing to be celibate to not dating and all of it. And I think this is
Hmm.
part of it because I am trying to still, and by the way, I think it's ever growing and it's
Hmm.
always going to evolve. But like I'm
Yes.
figuring out who I am without that show.